They didn't just go against you, they went against a force far greater than them. And now, that force is making them pay. Chosen one, let's make one thing clear. They were never just fighting you. They were fighting the very force that chose you. They were battling against something divine, something unstoppable, something beyond their understanding. And now, that force is striking back. That force is flipping the script, and it's hitting them like bricks. The realization is sinking in. They fumbled. They miscalculated. They tried to dim a light that was never in their control, and now that light is blinding them. They thought you were nothing. They laughed. They doubted. They ignored. But let's be real. They saw you. They always saw you. They just didn't want you to see yourself. They hoped you would stay confused, stay small, stay questioning your worth. But what they didn't realize is that you were never just some ordinary person. They were dealing with a chosen one. The moment the universe marked you, your destiny was set in motion, and nothing they did could ever change that. Now the weight of their own arrogance is crashing down on them. The universe is serving their losses on a silver platter, and they can't stomach the taste. Everything they tried to take from you, everything they thought they could deny you, is being returned tenfold. And it's not just your rise that's haunting them. It's the fact that they never had any real power over you to begin with. They thought they were fighting you, but they were fighting against something far greater. They were fighting against the divine, against the chosen force that stands behind you. And that's why they're losing. That's why they're desperate. That's why they're scrambling to rewrite the past, to pretend they always supported you, to twist the narrative in their favor. But they can't rewrite what the universe has already written. They can't outrun what's coming for them. And you're done playing small. You're done questioning your worth. The universe has spoken, and it chose you. It didn't choose them. That's why they're bitter. That's why they're restless. Because deep down, they know the truth. They were never the ones in control. You were. You always have been. So now, chosen one, it's time to stop doubting. You were never alone in this. The universe was always backing you, always waiting for you to step fully into your power. And now that you have, there's no stopping you. If you're ready to fully embrace your destiny, if you're done doubting yourself, hit that like button and subscribe. Every time you do, you send a signal, not just to YouTube, but to the universe, that the chosen ones are rising. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you feel the shift happening, if you know deep down that you were the one all along. Let them feel it. Let them watch. The universe has already decided, and you've already won. Number 1. They saw your light, but they were too afraid to face their own shadow. You weren't invisible, chosen one. You were the truth they couldn't stomach. Here's the cold truth. They never ignored you because you weren't special. They ignored you because you made them feel small. You didn't fit in their neatly packaged world, and that terrified them. You didn't fall in line with their limitations, their fears, or their narrow views of what the world should be. You were too much for them to handle, too powerful, too real. And because you forced them to confront the parts of themselves they hated, they did everything they could to pretend you weren't there. Don't get it twisted. They saw your light. They saw your potential. They saw the fire burning inside you that would one day burn brighter than their darkest insecurities. But instead of lifting you up, Instead of celebrating what you had, they tried to put it out. Why? Because it reflected back at them everything they weren't brave enough to face in themselves. The truth was too much for them. Your drive exposed their complacency. Your depth revealed their shallowness. Your resilience made their fragility scream. And so, instead of looking at you with admiration, they turned away. They dismissed you. They downplayed you. They pretended like you weren't even there. It was never about you being good enough. No, it was about them not being ready to confront their own shortcomings. Every time you walked into a room, you forced them to see what they couldn't stand, the gaping gap between their potential and their reality. You didn't need to do anything except exist. Just by being yourself, you made them uncomfortable. You had qualities they secretly wished they had. Qualities like drive, purpose, and unshakable strength. But instead of letting you inspire them, instead of stepping up to meet you, they chose the coward's way out. They chose to ignore you. They chose to pretend like you didn't matter. How many times did they dismiss your ideas, your efforts, your brilliance, even though deep down they knew exactly what you were capable of? They saw it, felt it, and yet they chose to pretend like you didn't belong. Why? Because admitting your value would mean admitting their own mediocrity. It would mean facing the truth about their own limitations. And that's something most people can't do. It's easier to ignore, dismiss, and pretend it doesn't matter than to own up to the fact that someone else is outgrowing you, especially when that someone is you. But here's the kicker, chosen one, you kept going. While they were busy trying to suppress you, trying to ignore your brilliance, you kept evolving. You kept leveling up. And that's what has them scrambling now. It's hitting them like bricks. All the times they thought you'd fade into the background, all the times they underestimated your power, it's all coming crashing down. You're becoming undeniable now. You're no longer the person they can conveniently overlook. You've broken through the walls they built around you, and now you're standing tall, unshakable, and forcing them to face the truth they've been running from. The regret is eating them alive. They can't handle it. They're haunted by the ghost of their own cowardice. They realize now that they should have supported you. They should have recognized you. They should have treated you differently while they had the chance. But instead, they wasted all that time underestimating the very person they were meant to help lift. They should have backed you, should have believed in you, but they didn't. They played themselves. And let's be clear, they didn't see you because they were too busy avoiding their own reflection. Every time they saw you, they saw a mirror showing them what they were too afraid to confront. They saw the potential they had locked away, the dreams they buried in their own fear. They couldn't handle it, so they ignored you, dismissed you, and tried to pretend you didn't matter. But now, they have no choice but to watch you rise. Here's the hard truth. Chosen one, you were always the one, the whole damn time, and they knew it. They saw your brilliance, your potential, your greatness, but they hoped you would never realize it. They hoped you would stay small, stay quiet, stay invisible. But you didn't. You woke up to the fact that the universe chose you, and now that light you carry is blinding them. Now that you see your own power, they can't deny it. They can't silence you anymore. The universe is making sure of that. So, stop doubting yourself. Stop questioning if you belong. The universe aligned for you. And now it's time to step into your purpose with confidence. They tried to ignore you, but now they're forced to reckon with the truth. You were the one all along. They were never your competition. They were just a distraction, a faint shadow in the face of your light. And now that you're shining, they don't stand a chance. Number 2, they kept you close, not because they loved you, but because they feared your power. They didn't want to protect your light. They wanted to control it, dim it, and use it for themselves. Let's get this straight, chosen one. They never kept you close because they loved you. No, they didn't keep you around because they saw your brilliance, your potential, or the depth of your soul. They kept you close because they feared your power. They knew you had something that could outshine everything they've built, something that could expose the limits of their own existence, and they weren't about to let you break free. So they pulled you in. They fed you just enough to make you think you were safe, secure, loved, but it was never about you. It was always about controlling your light. They saw it in you long before you even saw it in yourself. They saw the fire burning in you, the unstoppable force that could make the world shift. And instead of helping you rise, instead of supporting you on your journey, they decided to keep you close. They didn't want you to burn bright. They wanted to harness your fire for their own gain. They wanted to siphon your energy, to keep you close enough to use your brilliance without letting you see just how powerful you truly are. It wasn't about love. Love doesn't control. Love doesn't keep you small for its own benefit. Love doesn't feed off your energy and leave you drained. What they were doing wasn't love. It was manipulation, pure and simple. They gave you just enough attention, just enough praise, just enough validation to keep you in their grip. But it was all part of a game. They needed to make sure you stayed in line, that you didn't get too big for your own good. The last thing they wanted was for you to realize how much power you truly had. They weren't here to help you grow. They were here to make sure you didn't outgrow them. You've felt it, haven't you? The subtle pull, the way they've always been there, just enough to stop you from breaking free. They're never fully gone, never fully out of your life, always just close enough to remind you that they're there. But it's not for your benefit. It's to keep you from seeing just how big you can truly get. They're afraid of what would happen if you ever embraced your light completely. Because if you did, if you truly stepped into your power, they'd be left in the dust. They'd be nothing. And you've allowed it. You've allowed them to stay close because you thought they were looking out for you. You thought they were on your side. But in reality, they were always on their own side, using you as a means to fuel their own agenda. Every time you've made progress, every time you've gotten close to breaking free, they've subtly pulled you back, made you question yourself, made you doubt your worth. Not because they didn't see your value, but because they didn't want you to see it. They didn't want you to realize that you are the power. This is the harsh truth. They've kept you close because they were terrified of what would happen if you fully woke up. They knew your potential was limitless, and that scared them. Because the moment you realize your true worth, the moment you fully step into your purpose, you stop needing them. You stop needing anyone who's been feeding off your energy. The moment you claim your light fully, you break free from their control, and they lose their grip on you. That's why they kept you close. They knew that as long as you stayed uncertain, unsure of yourself, questioning your power, they could continue to feed off you. But the minute you start shining, the minute you stop doubting your worth, they become irrelevant, and they couldn't afford that. The universe didn't choose you to be anyone's backup, anyone's source of energy. It chose you to shine on your own, to rise above, and to show the world what true power looks like. And that's what they feared the most. They didn't fear your success. They feared the day you stopped seeking their approval, stopped listening to their manipulation, stopped doubting yourself. They knew that once you saw who you truly were, there would be no stopping you. And they couldn't let that happen. But here's the twist. You've outgrown them. You've reached the point where you can no longer be controlled, no longer be held back by their quiet manipulations. You are no longer the person who questions their worth, who wonders if they're worthy of success. You're the person who will rise regardless of who tries to hold you down, and they know it. Now, as you start to break free from their control, they'll try everything to reel you back in. They'll try to convince you that you still need them, that they were always the ones who had your back. But don't be fooled. They kept you close because they needed your light to survive. The universe has already set your path. The universe has already marked you for greatness. And now, it's time for you to step fully into your power and leave behind anyone who thought they could use you to keep themselves in the game. Your light is yours to own. And the moment you stop dimming it for others is the moment you break free from their grip for good. So, chosen one, don't go back to the shadows. You weren't meant to stay in their cage. You were meant to rise and shine, and the world is waiting for you to realize that. Number 3. Your struggles weren't a punishment. They were your forging ground. The hardest battles aren't here to break you. They're here to reshape you into something stronger than they could ever imagine. Listen closely, chosen one. Your struggles were never some cruel punishment from the universe. They were never the universe turning its back on you, giving you some test you couldn't pass, or dragging you through suffering just to watch you fail. No, the struggles you faced, the battles you fought, the pain you've endured, they were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to forge you. They were meant to shape you into someone that no one, not even your fiercest enemy, could ever break. You see, the universe doesn't waste time with those who don't have a purpose. It doesn't throw random chaos into the lives of those who aren't destined for greatness. It refines you. It takes what you are, strips away what isn't needed, and hammers you until you're unrecognizable to anyone who knew you before. The universe doesn't punish the chosen ones. It sharpens them, tempers them, molds them into something unstoppable. So stop looking at your struggles like they're some unfair burden that was placed on you. The truth? Your struggles are the very reason you're capable of what's coming next. They're the crucible in which your true power is being forged. Every setback, every hardship, every time you fell to your knees, it wasn't to make you weak, it was to make you strong. Those who never faced the kind of pain you've endured will never know the depth of your resilience. They'll never understand the strength that runs through your veins because they never had to earn it the way you have. They never had to fight with everything they had to stay alive, to stay standing, to stay true to their purpose. It's easy to look at others who glide through life with ease, who never seem to struggle, and think that maybe you're being punished. But let me tell you this. They don't know what real power looks like. They don't understand that without struggle, without pain, without sacrifice, there is no growth. The universe doesn't build greatness in comfort zones. It builds greatness in the furnace. It builds greatness in the fires of adversity. And that's where you've been. You've been in the fire, burning, reshaping, growing into the person you are meant to be. The truth is, your struggles were never random. They were always part of the process, part of your evolution. You were never meant to stay the same. You were never meant to remain where you started. That pain you went through, that was the universe making sure you evolved into the person you were always meant to be. You've been climbing for a reason. You've been dragged through the mud for a reason. And every single drop of sweat, every tear, every broken piece of yourself you thought was lost, it was all necessary. So stop questioning why it's been so hard. Stop wondering why things have never come easy. The universe doesn't hand success to those who aren't ready for it. The universe doesn't hand victory to those who haven't proven they can endure the fire. You've been through the fire, chosen one, and now it's time to let the world see the masterpiece you've become. What others see as your flaws, your failures, your weaknesses, those are the marks of your transformation. Those are the imprints of a life that wasn't just lived, but earned. Every battle scar is a testament to your strength, a mark of your endurance. You didn't just survive, you rose. And those who underestimated you, those who doubted you, they're going to feel the weight of your rise. They're going to see what happens when someone who has been refined by struggle steps into their full power. Don't let anyone tell you that your struggles were a mistake. Don't let anyone make you feel like you've been cursed. You've been chosen. You've been molded by the universe to walk a path that no one else can walk. And now, it's your time to rise. You've been through the furnace. You've been hammered into shape. Now, you are unbreakable, unstoppable, and more powerful than you could ever imagine. So, look at your struggles with gratitude, not resentment. Look at them as the refining process that made you who you are. Your strength, your power, your resilience. They were all forged in the fire. The universe didn't punish you. It was preparing you for everything that's about to come. And now you're ready to shine like you've never shone before. And nothing and no one can dim that light. Number 4. Their betrayal wasn't a mistake. It was their last, desperate move before you left them behind. When people realize they can no longer control you, their final weapon is betrayal. Let's be real, chosen one. They never betrayed you by accident. It wasn't a slip-up, a heat-of-the-moment decision, or some misunderstanding. No, it was planned. It was calculated. It was their last act of control before they lost their grip on you completely. They saw the shift happening. They felt your energy changing. You weren't doubting yourself the way you used to. You weren't seeking their validation anymore. You weren't playing small just to make them comfortable. And that scared them. Because as long as they had power over you, as long as they could make you second-guess yourself, they were safe. But the second you started realizing who you really were, they panicked. And betrayal? That was their last, desperate move to stop your rise. Understand this. Betrayal is never the beginning of the end. It's the final chapter of a story that was always meant to close. They didn't suddenly turn on you. No, they were always like this. They were always waiting for the moment when you became too much, too aware, too powerful to manipulate. And when that moment came, they did what weak people always do. They tried to destroy what they could no longer control. Think about it. The lies, the disloyalty, the deception, all of it was a desperate attempt to keep you trapped in the version of yourself that served them. They couldn't handle the idea of you outgrowing them. They couldn't stomach the thought of you moving on to bigger things, things that no longer included them. So, they betrayed you, not because they had to, but because they had no other option left. They hoped the betrayal would break you. They hoped it would shatter your confidence, make you question your worth, make you turn back and shrink yourself down again. But what they didn't realize is that you were already too far gone. The betrayal didn't set you back, it set you free. The pain didn't break you, it burned away every last illusion you had about who they were. And now they have to sit with the fact that their plan failed, that they lost access to you, that they played themselves thinking they could stop what the universe had already set in motion. Because here's what they didn't understand. The universe doesn't play games when it chooses someone. When the universe marks you, it doesn't matter who tries to take you down, who tries to betray you, who tries to stand in your way. The universe will remove every last obstacle, even if it has to do it in the most painful way possible. That betrayal, it wasn't a loss. It was a necessary purge. It was the final push you needed to step into your full power. You were holding on to people who weren't meant to come with you. You were still carrying dead weight, still giving energy to those who had no business being in your life. The universe saw what you couldn't see yet, and when you wouldn't let them go, the universe made sure they let go of you. So stop mourning the ones who betrayed you. Stop wasting time trying to figure out why they did it. They did it because they had no other move left. They did it because they knew their time in your life was running out. They did it because your growth became their greatest fear. And now they have to sit in the aftermath of their own choices while you rise without them. Let them watch, let them regret. But don't you dare let their betrayal make you hesitate. The universe has already cleared the path for you. Now it's time to walk forward like the unstoppable force you were always meant to be. Number 5. They didn't want you until they saw others recognize your power. When they saw others admiring you, their envy couldn't be contained. Suddenly, you were worth something. Chosen one, let's break this down. They never cared about you until they saw others recognize your worth. They were too busy playing their own games, too busy dismissing you as insignificant, too caught up in their own insecurities to ever truly see you. You were invisible to them until your light started attracting attention. And once they saw that others were starting to admire you, to see what they had been blind to, suddenly they wanted a piece of you. It wasn't about you. It was never about you. It was about the recognition. It was about seeing the validation you were finally getting from others and realizing they had missed out on something they could never get back. Suddenly, your value wasn't just a personal thing. It was a social thing, and they couldn't handle it. They thought they could keep you in the shadows, keep you small, and it worked as long as no one else noticed you. But once the world started seeing you for who you really are, they couldn't stand it. They had to have a piece of you now. They had to claim you, claim your light, as if they had always been there. Do you see how this works? They only cared about you because they saw others starting to see your worth. Before that, when you were struggling, when you were still finding your way, they dismissed you. They didn't recognize your greatness because it wasn't convenient for them. They weren't interested in supporting you when you were climbing. They didn't care when you were battling, when you were working through the darkness alone. But the minute they saw others looking your way, the minute they saw your rise, they thought they could climb on your back. They wanted to share in the glory without doing any of the work. They were fine with you staying in the shadows. They were okay with you doubting yourself, because as long as you weren't standing in the light, they didn't feel threatened. But when they saw others recognizing your value, when they saw the world starting to appreciate what they had overlooked, suddenly they wanted in. They wanted to be part of your story. They wanted a front row seat to your success, even though they had never supported you when it mattered most. And let's not sugarcoat it. This isn't about love. It's about envy. They envied your strength, your resilience, your light, and they wanted a taste of it for themselves. But here's the thing, they can't have it. They didn't earn it. They didn't go through the struggle, the growth, the pain, the sacrifices. They only saw the end result, the recognition, and thought they could claim it as their own. But you don't get to claim what you haven't earned. You don't get to bask in someone else's shine just because the crowd is cheering for them now. The universe has a way of exposing these people for exactly who they are. They will try to cling to your success, to attach themselves to your journey, but the universe knows who truly deserves the spotlight. And it wasn't them. It was you. You see, chosen one, you were never meant to be anyone's backup. You were never meant to be someone else's second choice, something to admire only after it was safe. You are the one who was always meant to rise. You were the one who had to fight, to work, to grow. And now that others are starting to see that, they want to be a part of your story. But you're not here for them. You're here for your own greatness. You're here to shine in your own light, to step into the power the universe has given you, and to never again allow anyone to take credit for what's yours. Now, they'll try to get close. They'll try to play nice. They'll pretend like they always saw your potential, like they were there all along. But let me remind you, their admiration is just a reflection of their own envy. It's not real. They're not here to help you grow. They're here to ride your wave now that it's big enough to be seen. But you know the truth. They were never there when you needed them most. They only showed up when it became clear you were about to break through. And now they want to claim a piece of what they never helped build. So here's the reality. Chosen one, let them watch. Let them admire from the sidelines. You don't need their validation, their approval, or their presence. The universe chose you to stand tall, to rise above their manipulation, and to shine on your own terms. They didn't want you when they thought you were small. Now that they see your greatness, it's too late. You don't owe them anything, not a damn thing, for pretending to care now that others have finally recognized what they should have seen all along. You've worked for this. Now, let the world see you for who you really are, and let them stay in the shadows where they belong. Number 6, you weren't rejected. You were being hidden for something greater. Sometimes the universe has to hide you so that the world doesn't destroy what's meant for greatness. Let me set the record straight. Chosen one, you were never rejected. It might have felt that way at times. It might have seemed like the world, or the people around you, shut you out, dismissed you, or ignored your potential. But you weren't rejected. You were protected. The universe wasn't turning its back on you. It was hiding you for a higher purpose. It was making sure that before the world saw your greatness, you were ready to face it, ready to claim it, and prepared to protect it. You felt the sting of being overlooked, right? Of working hard, putting in the effort, and getting no recognition. But it wasn't because you didn't deserve it. It was because the world wasn't ready for what you had to offer. You see, the universe doesn't reveal its chosen ones until they've been forged in fire, until they've gone through the tests that others could never understand. And you've been in the furnace, quietly growing, quietly evolving, without anyone knowing the full extent of your power. The rejection you felt wasn't personal. It wasn't about your worth. It was about timing. The universe was quietly refining you, making sure that when you did step into the spotlight, no one could tear you down. Because once you're fully revealed, the world can't ignore you. But it needed to be at the right time, and that meant keeping you hidden, keeping you out of the spotlight until you were strong enough to endure what would come with it. Those who rejected you, those who didn't recognize your potential, they weren't your enemies. They were simply part of the process. The universe had to keep you away from those who would try to use you, control you, or dim your light before you were ready to shine. You've been in hiding for a reason, and now that the time is right, it's time for you to step out, to embrace the power that's always been yours, and to show the world exactly who you are. So stop seeing your solitude as rejection. Stop questioning why you were kept in the shadows. You were hidden for your own protection, for your own growth, and for the moment when the universe would finally let the world see what it always knew. Now, it's time to show up and shine brighter than anyone could ever imagine. Number 7. Their guilt is crushing them because they chose comfort over growth. They chose the easy road, and now they have to live with the consequences of never daring to grow. Let's get something clear. Chosen one, the guilt they're carrying isn't about what they did to you. It's about what they did to themselves. They chose comfort. They chose the safe route. And now, as they watch you rise, as they see your growth, they're forced to face the truth. They stayed stagnant when they had the chance to evolve. And that's a weight they'll never be able to shake off. When they turned their back on you, when they doubted your potential, when they chose not to support you, they weren't just rejecting you. They were rejecting growth. They were choosing the easy path, the path of least resistance, where they could stay comfortable, stay complacent, and stay small. But here's the thing. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It never has. It never will. And deep down, they knew it. They knew that if they had taken the risk, if they had stepped out of their comfort zone and embraced the challenge you posed, they would have had to face the fear of their own limitations. So they took the easy way out and let you grow alone. But now they can't escape the guilt. They can't escape the regret that eats away at them every time they see you rise. Every time they see you living the life they were too afraid to chase. Every time they see your strength, your power, your success. It hits them like a wave of guilt and shame, because they know they could have been part of it. They know they could have walked beside you, helped you grow, and evolved alongside you. But they didn't. They chose comfort. They chose their own fears over your future, their own safety over your success. And now they're stuck in that place, stuck in a cycle of guilt and self-loathing, realizing they could have been better, could have done more, could have chosen the hard road, the road that leads to greatness. But they didn't. They stayed in their comfort zone, and now they have to watch as you step into your power. This guilt, it's not just because they hurt you, it's because they hurt themselves. They didn't have the courage to evolve, to challenge themselves, to risk the discomfort that comes with growth. And they'll carry that burden forever, knowing that they chose to stay stagnant instead of growing alongside you. The worst part? They'll never be able to undo it. They'll never get back the time they wasted, the opportunities they missed, and the potential they let slip away. And that's a weight they'll have to carry for the rest of their lives. As you rise, as you step into your greatness, let their guilt be a reminder of what happens when you choose comfort over growth. Let it be a reminder that true strength comes from embracing challenges, from stepping into discomfort, and from never settling for easy. They'll watch you with envy, with regret, and with the knowledge that they made the wrong choice. But you chose growth, you chose strength, you chose your own power, and nothing and no one can take that away from you. Number 8. They never thought you'd heal, but now you're unstoppable without them. They thought they broke you. What they didn't realize is that you were never meant to be held down. Chosen one, here's the truth. They never thought you'd heal. They thought the pain they caused you, the betrayal they handed you, the weight of their actions would break you. They believed that when they pushed you down, you would stay there, forever questioning your worth, forever broken, forever waiting for their approval. But what they didn't know is that you were never meant to stay down. You weren't built to be crushed by their lies or their manipulation. No, you were built to rise. And now, look at you, stronger, more powerful, and more unstoppable than you ever were with them. They watched you struggle, they watched you suffer, and they thought that was the end of your story. They thought their actions would define you, that their rejection would be the final chapter of your journey. But what they didn't understand is that your story was never theirs to write. You were always the author, and you rewrote your fate. They couldn't break you because they didn't know the depths of your strength, the resilience that runs through your veins. They didn't understand that your healing wasn't dependent on them. You didn't need them to heal. You didn't need their validation. You didn't need their support. You had everything you needed within yourself all along. And while they thought their absence or their betrayal would leave you weak, vulnerable, and dependent on their approval, what it did instead was ignite a fire inside of you that they could never understand. It made you realize that you are your own source of strength. You didn't need anyone else to heal you. You just needed to embrace your own power. Now, they're watching as you rise, as you become more than they ever thought you could be. They're watching as you step into the person they tried to break, and they can't handle it. They can't comprehend how the person they once tried to crush has become stronger without them. It's eating them alive because they never thought you'd heal. They never thought you'd have the strength to bounce back, to rise above the chaos they left behind. And now, they see you walking in your power, and they realize they never had any control over you at all. Let this be your reminder, chosen one. Their attempt to break you was never about you. It was about them. It was about their fear of your strength, their fear that you would outgrow them. They tried to dim your light because it terrified them to see you shine brighter than they ever could. But the universe knew better. The universe knew that you were meant to rise above the shadows they cast, that you were meant to heal and grow into something that would leave them speechless. And now, as you stand stronger, more powerful, and more resilient than ever, remember this: they may have tried to break you, but they only made you unbreakable. Every wound they caused, every tear you shed, it all became part of the armor that now shields you. They didn't realize that every battle you fought, every moment of pain, was just another step towards the greatness you are now stepping into. So let them watch. Let them sit back and witness what happens when they try to break someone who is destined for greatness. Let them see you heal. Let them see you rise. And let them feel the sting of realizing that they were never a part of the person you were always meant to become. You don't need them. You never did. And now you're stronger without them, unshakable, unstoppable, and more powerful than they could ever imagine. Number 9. They can't escape the regret of mishandling you. They thought you were expendable. Now, they're living with the consequences of underestimating your power. Chosen one, let's be crystal clear about this. They can't escape the regret. No matter how hard they try to bury it, no matter how much they pretend like it doesn't hurt, it's eating them alive. They mishandled you. They thought they could use you, take from you, and walk away without facing any consequences. But now they're waking up to the fact that they played the wrong game, and they're paying for it in ways they never expected. They didn't see your worth when they had the chance. They treated you like you were disposable, like you were just another person they could use until they no longer needed you. But you were never just another person. They couldn't see that then, and now they're realizing just how deeply they misjudged you. You were the one all along, the force they should have honored, the power they should have feared. And because they were too blind, too arrogant, or too caught up in their own insecurities, they chose to disregard you, push you aside, and treat you like an afterthought. Now, as they watch you rise, unapologetically, undeniably, they're stuck with the knowledge that they let you slip away. They missed their chance to support you. They missed their chance to recognize your value, to stand by you, to help you grow. Instead, they mistreated you, dismissed you, or underestimated your potential. And now, they're forced to live with the consequences. The regret is haunting them. It doesn't matter how much they try to cover it up with excuses or distractions. The truth is there, staring them in the face, and they can't escape it. They mishandled you, and now they're paying the price. But let's get something straight. This regret isn't about you. It's about them. It's about their failure to see your value when it was right in front of them. It's about their inability to recognize greatness when it was standing in their presence. They thought you'd always be there. They thought they could treat you like a stepping stone, like a tool to be used for their gain. But now they see that you were never meant to be part of their game. You were destined for something greater, and now they're stuck watching as you move on without them. They might try to act like they don't care. They might try to cover up their guilt with indifference or lies, but deep down, they know. They know that by mishandling you, they lost their chance to be part of your journey. They lost their place in your story. And now they have to live with the knowledge that they could have been part of your rise. But instead, they chose to stand in your way, to push you down, to disregard your value. And here's the hardest part for them to swallow. They can't undo it. No matter how much they regret their actions, no matter how badly they wish they could go back and do things differently, the damage is done. They mishandled you, and now they're left watching as you step into your power, as you rise higher than they could ever imagine. The universe has already moved you forward, and there's no going back for them. So let them regret. Let them sit in the mess they created. You've moved on, and you're stronger than ever. The universe has your back, and every step you take forward is a reminder that their actions can never hold you back. They may regret mishandling you, but you're already moving toward your greatness, and nothing can stop you now. Number 10. Your success is proof that you never needed their validation. They thought your worth was tied to their approval. Now, your success is proving them wrong. Chosen one, let's get something straight once and for all. You never needed their validation, not their approval, not their endorsement, not their recognition. Your worth was never dependent on their perception of you. They thought you needed them to see you, to acknowledge you, to give you permission to be great. They thought you'd never make it without their approval. But now, your success is the loudest slap to the face they'll ever get. Because you did it without them. You made it, and you proved to the world, and to them, that you were always enough. You were always meant for this. All that time they spent doubting you, questioning you, treating you like you weren't enough. It was wasted. They built their entire narrative around the idea that your success depended on them. They thought you would crumble without their support. They thought you needed them to get there. But they were wrong. Your journey was never about them. You didn't need their validation to rise. You are the proof of your own greatness. You kept going. You kept pushing forward. And now the world can see the truth. The world can see that your success wasn't some fluke, wasn't some accident. It was your destiny, and nothing, not their doubts, not their opinions, not their rejection, could stop it. All the whispers behind your back, all the dismissals, all the times they tried to make you feel small. It didn't matter. You didn't need them to believe in you. You believed in yourself. And that's why you made it. Now, as they watch you thrive, as they watch your success unfold in ways they could never have imagined, they're left with the realization that they were never the ones who would validate your worth. You've done it all on your own. Your success speaks louder than anything they could ever say or do. And that silence they left when they doubted you, that silence is deafening now because the truth is staring them in the face. You are exactly who you said you were all along, and they couldn't stop it. You don't need their approval, their praise, or their acknowledgement. You never did. Your success is the result of your own hard work, your own belief in yourself, and your refusal to back down when the world didn't see your potential. They couldn't see it, and now they have to deal with the fact that you've surpassed everything they thought was possible. The universe didn't give them control over you, and now they're forced to watch you rise higher than they ever thought you could. And that's the most painful part for them. Your success is proof that you don't need their validation to be great. You were always worthy, always capable, always meant for this, whether they saw it or not. So, let them watch. Let them squirm. You don't owe them anything. Your journey is yours alone, and their inability to see that was their mistake, not yours. You've already won. The universe is on your side, and now your success is speaking for you in ways that words never could. In conclusion, chosen one, your journey has always been about your own strength, resilience, and belief in yourself. The world may have doubted you, but now it's clear. You never needed their validation to prove your worth. You were always destined for greatness. If this message resonates with you and you're ready to rise above the doubt, like this video, subscribe and drop the number 77 in the comments to show you're stepping into your power. Share this with others so they can recognize their own strength too. Because when you engage with this, you're telling the universe you're ready to claim your destiny.